This right here is a perfect example of shitstream news playing into a narrative to get us to fight with each other, create division, whatever. You know, you got these people who swear on everything that Donald Trump is going to fucking save us. And then you have these other people who claim that they hate Donald Trump and they don't want him in there. They want him out as soon as possible because he's a shitty president. When it's all a game, they're all on the same team. They create a narrative to keep you going, to keep you asleep, to keep you from fucking seeing that it's all a game. But just listen to this shit.
Now I want to turn to a fact check I mentioned you were going to do earlier in the show. And this involves something very important as we deal with these tough times. I'm talking about accountability. President Trump now on defense over what is clearly one of the...
Accountability coming from him, like, what's his name? High Impact Vlog says MSLSD. Because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about because they tripping. This guy should be ashamed of himself to say something about accountability.
Greatest scandals of his very controversial presidency, the mishandling of the pandemic, the
mishandling of no pandemic. You see how they're pushing a narrative? They're still pushing it's like a situation within a situation. You know, they solidify that the pandemic's real, but now they're gonna push, oh well, the president knew, but way before he didn't do anything, to make it look bad. All it's doing is gonna stir up all the people who support Trump into fighting back and arguing. It's gonna cause a bunch more debates and arguments with the people who hate Trump and the people who love Trump. And all they're going to do is sit back and laugh at us because we're feeding right into what they're doing. You know, I don't know what I've done recently, but like some of this shit just pops out at me, you know, and I don't have to even listen to the whole thing, but we're going to listen to it.
Misinformation, now backing away from the medical briefings that many experts argued with Trump's involvement were doing as much harm as good. Now tonight, I can tell you the White House is arguing Donald Trump just didn't know how bad this would all get. New reports, though, show Trump was briefed twice verbally about the coronavirus spreading back in January and told it was going to spread globally. Trump now downplaying that briefing.
On January 23rd, I was told that there could be a virus coming in, but it was of no real import. In other words, it wasn't, oh, we got to do something.
It's important to ask the question. That question clearly was posed there in that Fox News appearance, but the answer is lacking. So let me show you the facts. This is another example of why reporting and facts matter. Donald Trump's clearly pushing back.
Reporting and facts matter. I'm the mainstream news, and we never lie. Yeah, okay.
Because if people learn he blew off these warnings, it may shape public views of him and whether he's fit for re-election. And here are the...
You see how they're playing the narrative? Oh, you know, now it's gonna offset his chance to get back in. Oh no, Trump's about to not get back in. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? All they're doing is stirring up energy to keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep doing whatever the fuck they're doing behind closed doors so we don't see it. People have got to understand this shit, man.
Facts. They show across January and February, Trump got over 10 more warnings about the coronavirus in those very important daily briefings. Now that's counting up secret briefings behind the scenes. Then you can add in the public warnings, and it actually gets even worse for the president. Now, because this is a big debate in the country, I want to go a little deeper on one example of a public warning. Take February 25th. This headline says it all. CDC officials warn of coronavirus outbreaks in the U.S. And let me tell you exactly what that New York Times story read like, because it's really striking to think about it now. We looked it up, and it says, quote, federal health officials starkly warned the new coronavirus will almost certainly spread in the U.S. and that hospitals, businesses, and schools should begin making preparations. And then came the now infamous warning from the doctor in charge of a CDC immunization center saying, quote, it's not so much of a question of if this will happen anymore, but rather more a question of exactly when will this happen. That's Dr. Nancy Messonnier. She also added in that same public warning that cities should start planning for social distancing measures like dividing school classes into smaller groups or closing schools altogether. Meetings should be canceled, she said. Businesses should arrange for employees to work from home. End quote from that New York Times report.
And boy, they just hit that on the motherfucking head. So perfect. It's because they knew. Like I can see through so much bullshit. I mean, look at this guy's face. Looks like a drone to me.
It was all right there, in public. And you know who was listening? A lot of stock traders, because the markets plunged that day. They heard the same public warnings that Donald Trump now wants you to believe didn't exist. Now, what do you do when a pandemic is headed your way? Well, you know what? There were warnings about that too. From the CDC, like I just quoted, from other doctors, publicly and privately, from Bill Gates, who personally lobbied Donald Trump on this issue and publicly outlined the challenge facing any country looking at this kind of pandemic. Here he was in 2015.
The problem was that we didn't have a system at all. In fact, there are some pretty obvious key missing pieces. We didn't have a group of epidemiologists ready to go, and a large epidemic would require us to have hundreds of thousands of workers. It didn't get into many urban areas, and that was just luck. So next time we might not be so lucky. It would spread throughout the world very.
I cannot believe they're showing this. This is the infamous video where he predicted off of his statistics. Yeah. My fucking ass. Because you knew about it. Bill Gates of hell. It's what it's a fucking joke. It's disgusting. It really is.
Very quickly. If we start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic.
And smile about it because I know something that you don't know. Like, look at him. He has no soul. But if we start now, we can get ahead of the next epidemic. Give me a fucking break, Bill.
These are the kind of warnings the president is now telling everyone with a straight face don't exist. This may be the kind of fact check he doesn't want you to see. And let me be crystal clear. We're talking about public health, not ideology. Being prepared is not about getting points for being right. It's about being prepared so you can save lives. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC.
You see what I'm saying, though? How they play the narrative? It's all about saving lives, and, you could have got ahead of it because somebody told you. It's just like, oh, people are so gullible. Can't you see that this is all a script? You can't see it, but I figured I'd show you all this.